thank you for being with us. Since Vivek has already given an introduction to the author and our other panelists, I don't think there's any use for me to go on to this, but we are very proud to have Chetan here, a young writer from my part of the world, Sikkim. The book has already made waves. It received the Tata Lit Life prize into first book prize on this year. So we are very, very proud. He writes his two novellas, The King's Harvest and The Open and Shut Case, are based on Sikkim in two different time dimensions. I don't want to carry on further because Chetan has come up with a very novel way of introducing his book.
Speak first.
It's good enough? No.
Yeah, good.
As Prabha said, it's two novellas, An Open and Shut Case and The King's Harvest, from which the book gets its title. The King's Harvest is semi-satirical, mythical, fable kind of piece, and An Open and Shut Case, from which I'm going to read or sing, play. It's set in this day and age, and in parts of Sikkim, and because yesterday we were talking about translations, no, and the impossibility or the absurdity of it. So there was a very pertinent passage in the book, which I think makes for a good show as well. So we decided amongst ourselves that that is what we'll do, and well, the scene I'm going to read out, it's taking place in a jeep. When people are traveling, there's a foreigner amongst them. He's fallen in love with a Nepali song. And at some point in the journey, on his way to Sikkim, this is the opening of the novella. At some point in the opening, in the beginning of the journey, he asks the driver to translate the song for him, or the people in the jeep to translate the song for him. And this is what follows. The song, I'll play a short song for you right now. It's a common refrain. This song sort of loops in and out of the novella, weaves its way throughout its length, and it is an overall, it gives a thematic background and a score, if you will. So without further ado, it sounds old, it sounds like it's always been a part of our lives, but it wasn't. It's as recent as 1960, and it's written and composed by a man named Datta Pariyar, I think. So there it goes. Rasam Piri, Rasam Piri, Ura Rajam Ki Dara Banjang, Rasam Piri, Rasam Piri, Rasam Piri, Ura Rajam Ki Dara Banjang, Rasam Piri. Ek nale banduk, banduk, dui nale banduk, mi galai take ko, gala maile take ko aina, maya lai take ko, resam firiri, resam firiri, ure rajam ki dara banjang, resam firiri, imal chuli pallu patti dumsi rukni dulo, suna chandi manna matra maya raicha tulo, resam firiri, resam firiri, ure rajam ki dara banjang, resam firiri, ure rajam ki dara banjang, resam firiri. Thank you. Now, in the taxi between Malli and Jorthang, the driver reached back and took Strawn's cassette. In a practice mood, he inserted it into the player fastened to the cabin's metal ceiling. The guitar strummed gently, and it was followed by a flute lilt. In the moments preceding the first words, Strawn savored the anticipation unique to music, a torment sweetened by the knowledge of immediate fulfillment. The mood in the jeep turned convivial. The plump youth said, "You like the song? I haven't heard this song since childhood. We also speak English, Nepali here." His English was fluent. Strawn had travelled enough in the east to know that a conversation loomed. "Yes, I know a lot of Nepali people in Sikkim," he replied. He did not usually respond to attempts at conversation when travelling in the east. His English was halting. He had learnt it for the same reason some people learn driving, to get by in the world. And his patriot's pride suffered when he was addressed in it. But now he suspended these reservations for something needed clarity. Strawn turned to the lady beside him and asked her to translate the song. He wanted it to be unraveled by a woman's voice, but she strained her pursed lips into an unconvincing smile and shook her head. And the dialogue, I'll be saying it in Nepali first and immediately giving an English translation as per the book. She looked at the youth and said to him in Nepali, "Bhai, तिमीले ट्रान्सलेट गर्दा होला यो मान्छेलाई त हेर्दा पनि कलेज ग्रेजुएट जस्तो छौ तिमीलाई नै राम्रो बुझ्छ होला." Which means, "Bhai, please translate the song for the tourist. You look like a college graduate. He'll understand you better." The compliment and his own eagerness made the plump young man an ideal candidate. He leaned forward, tapped the eavesdropping driver on his shoulder and told him in Nepali, "Bhai, दाजु यसलाई गीतको माने भन्नु पर्यो खेल्नु होइन फेरि." He wants to know the meaning of the song. We should play it again. The driver agreed. He was anxious to cut off the man seated next to him, an acquaintance who held the clerkship in Gangtok, a post whose importance grew with each kilometer until he was indispensable to the state. He had proclaimed at the beginning, "Bhai, हामीलाई party politics को के याद होला हामी जस्तो मान्छे. Why? What do we know about party politics? We are just ordinary men." And then proceeded to talk of politics with a passion that did not endure any interference. He had been talking of the Chief Minister's poetic anguish at the slow pace of public works when Strawn made his unusual request. The driver, his eyes on the road, stopped the music, rewound the tape, and they heard the opening strains of Resham Firiri again. The driver said to the youth, "Bhai, translate तिमीले गर्नुपर्छ होला है, मेरो English र यसको बाउको नेपाली बराबर छ." "Bhai, I think you'll have to translate. My English is as good as his father's Nepali." Resam firiri, resam firiri, udara jau ki dara banjang resam firiri. The cassette was ejected with a click. "Silk," the youth said to Strawn. "Fluttering?" "Yes, silky fluttering." "Should I fly over the mountains and valleys?" "Silky fluttering." "Resham firiri means silky fluttering?" "Yes." The song continued. "एक नाले बन्दुक दुई नाले बन्दुक मृगलाई ताकेको मृगलाई मैले ताकेको हैन मायालाई ताकेको." Now the driver volunteered to translate. He slowed the taxi and asked, "Bhai, mirgo English meaning kya ho? Bhai, how do you say mirga in English?" "Deer," the plump told him. The plump youth told him. The driver then began, "Single barrel gun, double barrel gun, aiming at deer." And he brought up his hand and held it pistol-like at his furrowed brow. Then he corrected himself and said, No, not deer, aiming at love." There was laughter, the loudest from the old man and his grandson at the back of the jeep. Strawn turned to the plump youth who frowned and said, "True." The driver turned his unshaven face around and said, "My name Lakka driver." "Eyes on the road," Strawn said and pointed ahead. The song resumed. कुकुरालाई कुतीमा कुती बिरालोलाई सुरे तिम्रो हाम्रो माया प्रीति दो बाटोमा कुरे. The passengers seemed to have turned against Strawn. When the youth recovered from his giggles, he said, "Tickle the chicken and give the cat chicken shit." Your love and my love came up in midway. The next verse I write quickly. Sanu sanu gai ko bacho pirai maram ram छोडेर जान सकिन मैले बरु माया सँगै जाऊँ. This was broadcast as small, small calf on the edge of the hill, Jesus Christ, I cannot leave you, let's go together. The party politics man inquired if Ram Ram could be fairly interpreted as Jesus Christ. The youth defended the necessity of a closer cultural reference to ease the foreigner's bewilderment. Strawn did not understand what his considerate translator had said, but he wouldn't have appreciated the youth's concern even if he had. His traveller's insecurity made him assume that the laughter was directed at him. He leaned close to the party politics man and asked about the translation's veracity. Yes, yes, the man said, this song is like our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Strawn winced. Absurdity was supplanting mystique, and this appalled him. This side, porcupine is hiding in hole. But love is greater than silver or gold. He smiled at Strawn, who was beyond amusement. He was furious at the Nepalis for inventing such a melody only to subvert it with bad poetry and worse logic. His earlier innocence was now irretrievable. He would never again hear the song without feeling ridiculed. So you still like song? The woman next to him asked. Strawn felt confused and foolish. Days of theory passed and another song began. They offered a translation. Strawn declined and asked for a cassette back. Blackboard driver said, "Bhai, can you know basic Hindi ki chune mein ringata lag sakta. Let it play. Too many Hindi songs make you giddy." The youth translated this, and Strawn agreed. The music and the drive were far more important than the ridicule of these half-wits. "So, where are you from?" the youth asked Strawn. He was ignored. Strawn withdrew from their talk and looked outside. The Rangeet River kept the road company. It was diminished by the dry winter and flowed with reptilian sloth. The road passed through largely uninhabited foothills, but the scenery, which might have enchanted in the morning or at dusk, was colorless under the weak sun. Thanks.
Thanks, Chetan. Always good to hear you read every time. I mean, we've been following the story right from its very beginnings, very origin. When it was quite short, it was quite a short story, right?
I think it was around 2,500 words when I first started it. It took around 8 years to get where it is right now.
I'm intrigued to know how does the story bloom like this. And every time I hear it, it gets a little lengthier, but then again, every time it's so refreshing, it's new. How does it go about?
It's gone through around four drafts, yeah? And it actually has a genesis in an actual situation. I was driving the car with a friend. The song came on. It really struck her in some deep part of her soul, and she asked me to translate it. And the results were pretty much what you heard some time back. So there was something then. I didn't really. Things weren't really occurring, and then at that point again there was another incident, a crime incident, which the book, the novella revolves around. And I just put the two together. I don't know what made me do that, and somehow it really struck, and it went down from there. And at some point when the Aleph guys, Ravi, read it, and he saw in it a possibility for a longer story. I didn't. He saw it, and then he actually, I got around to writing it, and his instincts were sounder than mine. So it turned out fairly well when it finally stopped. I was so happy when this story got published, because then I would know that no more drafts again, so it was done.
The two novellas, the first one, it starts on this rather humorous note, but this lighter note portends something much deeper and darker. And the song keeps appearing in different stages in the story. And how did you interweave this story with your very dark and this song, which is untranslatable, into your...
The kernel was always there, I think. It was when it first began itself, there was that the murder and the song had happened. And I think it was why I think it got a lot of all my friends were raving about it. I think it's more to the fact that they were my friends. But nevertheless, they liked it, and well, when we worked on later versions also, it seemed very natural. Yeah? It seemed like somehow I'd created something, and it didn't seem fraudulent, it didn't seem contrived when I had to stretch it out. At moments it did, but then in the final analysis, I think it's sort of, I've managed to do a respectable job of it. Yeah.
Do you think you've done justice to the translation, either the Nepali or the English?
No, yeah, I think it's a big joke, So, but it's in a way, its translations are always impossible, yeah, because which is good in a way because there is always some mystery left over. And if everyone spoke the same way, if everyone used the same metaphors, if everyone had the same idioms, it'll be quite a dull place. So, in the end, I didn't succeed because I don't think so. Success is possible. You can get the essence of it, but then again, in something like this, because the Nepali, the song tradition itself is like that, where you have one. It's very, very. I think the word is non sequitur, if you pronounce it rightly. I don't know, but it does not follow. Like you have an image, and sometimes it may be. It sounds absurd to you when taken out of context, but people really. They dance to the song. And nowhere they do burst in laughter. They they burst out in laughter? So it's something that happens, and they follow it up or they couple it with some profound sentiment. Yeah? It's almost like a conscious coupling of something profound and facile at the same time, and it works. And there's just one song. Almost every song, it's like they have something in the beginning which says something, and then again it turns out. So in that, I could never tell people how much Nepali music works like that and this and that. But the devices of fiction also don't allow you, it's not an exposition. So I tried, I don't think so I've succeeded, but success was never my intention anyway, so.
Come along with yes.
Okay, you've seen the early insecurities, that's why I think. No, I don't know if anyone has any questions?
I don't think the audience have had the time to read your book.
Oh, no, that's the thing, so.
And what we have discussed so far, it's been very pleasant hearing you sing and that, but I don't think...
Does the audience want another passage?
Yeah. With the singing.
Sing the song again. Oh my god, no. I can download it. Yeah. There's, I think, Wi-Fi going around also. Yeah.
Different song.
That song or some other song or?
Some other song.
That's because you won't make fun of me later. The one thing I don't understand. Another passage? Or song? Okay, I'll play another Nepali song.
Yes, later.
Sing song.
Song and dance.
And dance. 5 minutes.
Need a partner.
Okay, I'll sing another song. Another song? Okay. This one's one of my favorites. It's got a nice melody. And I'll give you the overall premise. It doesn't have any kind of that kind of imagery that the early one had, but it's a unique love song in the sense it's a song sung by someone who's been accused of eloping with a girl who is never met. Okay, that doesn't happen very often in life. Okay, and this is actually the premise of the song, yeah? But you won't know it if you just heard the melody and the words of the song. नक्कलीलाई बगाइ लग्यो झिल्केलाई खाल पर्यो तिमी हामी सोधलाई झिल्केलाई खाल पर्यो तिमी हामी सोधलाई पक्कैमा ढल पर्यो नक्कलीलाई बगायो झिल्केले तिमी हामी भनेसी हुरुक्क तिमी हुन्थिन् रे दुई चार दिन कतै गए सम्झी सम्झी रुक्थिन् रे पराईले गाउँदा दुवै कान थुन्थिन् रे हामीले गायो भने निन्द्रामा पनि सुन्थिन् रे दिनदशा लागेर हो कि अचम्मै कसले ओढाल गर्यो तिमी हामी सोधलाई भक्कै माडाल पर्यो नक्कली रात भगायो झिल्केले पहिलेदेखि हाम्रो माया प्रीति थियो रे दिनदेवासीमा भनेमा औँठी चिनो दियो रे न त कहिले भेटेको न त कहिले देखेको त्यही मोरी नक्कलीलाई मोहनी लगाइदियो रे के यस्तो देख्नु पर्यो अचम्मै कसले ओढाल गर्यो तिमी हामी सौदामा पक्कैमा घाल पर्यो नक्कली रात भगायो झिल्केले नक्कलीलाई भगायो झिल्केले थ्याङ्क यू She's asking me how do you get back to the book now. It's a very good book, yeah. I think time's up. We've been very...
It's already time.